Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from SegaCityUniverse.com and GravesEntertainment.com. I'm sorry if this video looks a little weirder than usual. Not my face, that's always weird, but the camera's dying, so I had to plug it in, so it's a little further away from me. Let's see here. Robert De Niro face. And it's pretty good, you can still see me, right? So, this is a video response to a YouTuber I just found who's really good. ProBman5. I'm going to put his name down in the description if you want to check him out. So, might be a little too close. Now, there we go. So, he did a cool video. This is the thing. My response is going to be not very direct. His video was basically about region lockout on games and consoles. And I thought that was really interesting. But then he went off on a cultural difference and why games are locked out regionally, by region. So I want to touch upon that more so. So this may not be a direct answer, or if you followed my video from his, you might be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? So I'm going to go off on a little rant. I'm just giving you full warning in case you don't have a few minutes. So some of the main things, actually pretty much everything ProBman said I agree with. He had said that regional lockouts are stupid, which they are. If I want to buy a whatever, this is the reason I like consoles that aren't locked out. And if they are locked out, hopefully they're easily able to play games from other regions. For instance, I have my Dreamcast, and I play Japanese games and European games all the time because you just throw in a disc of Utopia or Game Shark or Codebreaker, and you could play another region. Do I like it I have to do it that way? No, but you know what? For the couple seconds it takes to do it, I really don't care. Besides money reasons, I really can't think of a reason, and cultural reasons, which is my second point, for people to lock out games. I mean, monetarily, and I guess in terms of copyrights, the first thing that comes to mind is, again, I'll go back to the Dreamcast. With the Dreamcast logo, I believe it was red in Japan, orange in America, and blue in Europe, because they couldn't use that symbol with that color in Europe, you know, in orange or red or whatever. Or in America they had to use orange instead of red because of some other trademark. So if it comes down to something like that, I understand them only releasing things in a different market, or at least putting what market it's supposed to be in where they think it'll sell. For instance, and ProBman, that's his name, ProBman, right? I don't want to say it wrong, I'm sorry. ProBman5. He had said, you know, rugby. Rugby doesn't really come out here. Rugby's a big thing in Europe. And that's fine with me. But if I want to fucking play rugby, I should have the option to import the game, even if it costs more, and play it. There's no reason that my system should lock me out from playing a rugby game if I want to play fucking rugby. Okay? That's the first thing. Secondly, and more importantly to me, he had mentioned cultural differences. For instance, he had mentioned Call of Duty. Earl Grey, hot. Not a Star Trek reference, just my favorite tea in case anyone ever wants to send me any. I like PG Tips, Bigelow, Twinings, and a few others. I also like English breakfast. So anyhow, I'm just joking, you don't have to send me any tea. He was saying Call of Duty, or any war game or military shooter, they seem to cater towards the American audience. You're usually on the American side, and you're fighting against, most of the games now, or at least some I've seen, are about the war we're in now, or the military stuff going on now, where we're in Middle Eastern countries. There are tons of games on World War II, and there's a couple, as he said, on Vietnam, and I don't know if there's any Korean. I remember there's a couple of Confederate ones I played where you could play either side, which I find interesting. But there's a big cultural thing going on there, and what bothers me is there's negative connotations that I feel, and please don't get pissed at me about this. I'm not looking for a fight, an argument, or a debate. It's just my opinion. There's negative connotations that go along with this. So, for instance, you put someone who maybe doesn't know better in front of a TV and you pop in a game that can sway them either culturally, politically, to think something. you pop them in front of a Call of Duty, and they're playing against, maybe it's not Call of Duty, but they're fighting the Cold War against the Russians, okay? And you're shooting Russians, and you think that now all Russians are bad, or maybe there's a stigma that goes along with it in the game that's showing them as cold and callous people. That's not to say they are or aren't. I don't know many Russian people. The few I do know are very nice. Actually, one is straight from Russia, and she's very sweet. My friend's wife. So, anyway, someone who doesn't know better might watch that and get swayed, or get a different opinion on a culture, a nation, a people, a politic, anything. It could be the other way. It could be that someone in another country is playing a game that hasn't been released here, where the U.S. is a bad guy, or the U.S. is part of some group that, I don't know, and they may have a bad opinion of the United States, because I'm from the United States, that's why I mention this. I think that's you have to look at it as just what it is. It's kind of fantasy in a way. I mean, there are things stereotypes that are based in reality, so you can't completely throw them out the window. I've said this before, it's like when they say, oh, Italian people are in the mob, and Irish people are drunks, and, whatever other stupid stereotypes. There's part truth to them. They came from somewhere, so for them to make games on something as whatever it is, Russians, like I said, being whatever kind of people, or you're shooting them, we just don't want people to get the wrong idea about a group of people or a nation because of the way a game is portraying them. I think that's not good. So you have to realize you have to let a mature audience play these games and make their own decisions. To segue backwards for a moment, the other thing about what I was saying about rugby not coming to the States, that's just like in Japan, this is really segueing backwards, where visual novels and these weird like hentai porn games don't come to the United States because they don't really have a market, where in Japan they do. So there's that to take in as well. Where there's probably games here that come out, like I said, like Call of Duty, for instance, might not come out in Europe, I don't know, where it does come out here and it's a great seller. Just like JRPGs years ago weren't a big seller here, but then Final Fantasy and all these other games, Dragon Quest, started coming out, and people started buying them and eating them up, and they went, wow, we have an audience base here in America. What else? I prefer my games to be based more in fantasy than reality. I don't want really to, for instance, I like Kane and Lynch a lot. I think that's a cool game, an Army of Two, but it's kind of like, it's fantasy based. If you play a game like Army of Two and you're shooting things up, you realize, okay, you're fighting people in China, you're fighting people in Russia, you're fighting maybe people in the States, but it's so goofy and over the top and stupid, and these guys are running around wearing masks and, screaming about bro fisting, that I like that. I like the goofiness that goes along with it. I don't necessarily want to play a game based in reality. I don't want to play a game based about something I live. I do that every day. So, this is the other thing about it. Now, I might rub people the wrong way with this. I think that this kind of goes hand in hand with agendas. I believe that, especially political agendas, I don't like playing games or watching movies sometimes that have a lot of political agenda behind them. For instance, the new Devil May Cry game, DMC, I didn't play it. I wasn't a big Devil May Cry fan. I think the main bad guy is some kind of political mocking of someone on TV here in America who people like to make fun of because he's very brash and loud and whatever, and I'm not naming names, I'm not saying political group. Wherever you fall in the political scheme of things, I don't want to hear about it in my video games. I really don't. I don't want to play a game, and again, if I'm one of these people that are easily swayed, I don't want to have to be swayed or get your damn opinion about Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Libertarians, the Tea Party, and liberals and conservatives. I just don't care. If I want my politics, I will research them. And I do enjoy a little bit of politics, but not much. I don't want to play a game and make fun of some political agenda. Whatever side it falls on, I just don't care. If I wanted it, I would get it in another form. I would not get it from my video games. Maybe I'd read about it, I don't know. But I wouldn't get it from newspapers. I definitely wouldn't get it from TV because TV is extremely biased. Every station has a political agenda that they're feeding you and, swaying you by showing you certain things and not showing you certain things and keeping some things under wraps and then explaining them certain ways or only showing portions of things. So I don't appreciate that. I don't feel like I'm a fucking idiot. I mean, I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm definitely not Stephen Hawking's, but I don't want to be spoon-fed what they feel they should feed me. On top of that, the news has gotten to be too depressing, so I don't really read it or anything anyway. But what else? I'd just rather leave my politics out of the gaming world. So where ProBman had mentioned, some of these games about wars, that they don't probably bring them over to other countries because it's kind of showing a different side of things. I understand that, and he did a great video. If you didn't see it, definitely check it out. But I think politics have a lot to do with region lockout on top of money because they go hand in hand. And I just don't want politics in my games. This again, like I said, kind of segued into its own question or own response to something that didn't even get asked. But I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all this bullshit. I'm sick of fucking Kotaku and all these other websites that you go to for video game related news, and they just completely push their political agenda on what's good and what's bad. I don't want to hear it. I'm sick of it. If you have an opinion and we can sit down and talk and be friends and disagree, that is great, and I love you for it. I have a couple friends like that I completely disagree on with politics, with religion, with anything else, and I can still be great friends with them and walk away from the table with a smile on my face hugging him. And that's great. And I love that about people. But the other thing I hate about people is, again, when they get up, they take it as a personal attack that you don't agree with them. So that's why I don't really get into politics. And I don't like speaking about it. I have my own opinions and my own reasonings. I'd rather not talk about it, let alone talk about it on here, because that's not what this channel's for. It's for fun. So thank you, ProBman5, for the question. I am very sorry that I derailed your question and went into politics, but I'm just sick of people pushing their political agenda in games, in movies. It happens in movies, but you almost understand that to a degree because you know what you're getting into. I don't like how, with this Devil May Cry game, you go into it thinking you're fighting demons, and the main demon, or the main bad guy, I guess, is some kind of political point that they're trying to make. I don't like that. I don't want that. And I've had this conversation with my friend Mark from Graveside Entertainment, which I'm a part of, and he kind of agreed with me. I think he had said he had spoke to Dylan, who is the other friend of mine from Graveside, who disagreed. He thought it was good, and that it was almost like, video games are art, that type of take on things. And Dylan, if I'm completely wrong on what you said, you could please comment. So that's it. Tell me what you think about region lockouts, which was the main layer of skin that I'm getting to, which I think is stupid. There shouldn't be region lockouts. Even if they don't release a game around the world, they should still let you be able to import it and play it without a chip, without a disc, without anything. And the political side of it. I didn't really want to get into this topic, but since ProBman5 touched upon it, I thought it would kind of be safe to talk about it without getting my head kicked in or fighting with people, because I'm not here for any kind of altercations. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. I'm happy that you agree with what you agree with and what you don't. I just don't want it in my games or in other media that I look at if I get broadsided with it. So thanks guys for watching. It's Vampire Mike from SegaCityUniverse.com and GravesideEntertainment.com. Be good.